Hey, if you like old oil patch pictures, stick around. I got a bunch here for you. Here's an old photo from early 1940s of a service hand pulling rods. Description says the picture was taken somewhere in Kansas. Nice photo here from 1938 showing John Butler of the Reed Roller Bit Company talking to field service hands in Friendswood, Texas. You can see the well burning off in the back of the photo. Here's an oldie. This photo was taken in 1910 in the Brayer Field of Southern California and shows a rig floor with the crew standing back around the drawworks. Don't get your foot caught in that chain. Old photo from 1942 showing a roughneck standing pipe while tripping out of the hole. This rig was working down in Andrews County, Texas. Washing down the floor in rotary table. This photograph from 1939 shows a floor hand washing up on a rig in Kilgore, Texas. Here's another picture from down in Kilgore, Texas. This photo, also taken in 1939, shows the roughnecks making a connection. No hard hats back in those days. Here's a hotshot load of pipe coming into the rig. This old photo was taken in 1939 in Seminole, Oklahoma. No hard hats here either. Making a connection here, this picture was taken in Oklahoma in 1939 and shows a couple rig hands connecting a couple of drill pipes to run back in the hole. Here's a picture of that same crew getting ready to make another connection. Same rig in Oklahoma back in 1939. Iron men and wooden derricks. Here's an old-time photograph from 1910 of a wooden derrick drilling rig. Archive says this rig was drilling near Henderson, Texas. Here's a 1939 photograph of a drilling rig working in San Patricio County, Texas. Notice how all the pipe stood inside the derrick back in those days. Old photo from 1909 shows a field of dozens of oil wells just offshore at Summerlin, Santa Barbara County. Original caption reads, "Oil wells at Summerlin, Santa Barbara County, California, showing the ocean bluffs in front of Summerlin, the wharves and derricks over the wells." Talk about an oil boom. Lots of derricks here in this picture. This photo was taken in 1905 and shows derricks in Los Angeles, California. Now here's a photo that would make an environmentalist cringe. This is a 1939 photograph of derricks and drilled wells right along the ocean in Huntington Beach, California. Great picture here from 1940 showing the rig floor and the driller at his controls. This rig was drilling in Turner Valley, Alberta, Canada at the time. Notice the rotary table chain is enclosed on this rig. Nice picture here from 1941 of a well servicing truck. Caption reads, "Servicing an old oil well in Wichita, Kansas." Here's another oldie for you. This picture was taken in 1902 and shows a newly drilled well for Union Pacific in Valley Spring, Wyoming. Here's a 1941 picture of a rig at work. This rig is working for the Continental Oil Company in the Valley Center oil field near Wichita, Kansas. Here's a group of rig hands at an oil well in Brazoria County, Texas, either mixing mud or maybe doing a cement job. Notice the one man is smoking a pipe? Well, at least they're wearing hard hats here. Photo was taken in 1940. This photo from 1919 shows another wooden derrick and the crew starting to flow a well in Texas. Notice all that crude oil blasting out that flow line. Here's a photo from 1942 of a service crew pulling tubing from a well. This well was just outside Oklahoma City. Here's a 1948 photograph of a Schlumberger well logging unit at a rig outside of Houston, Texas. A bit surprising to see all the components on skids and not truck-mounted. Old-fashioned cement job going on here. This 1937 photograph shows the crew of the Lone Star Cement Company mixing cement for a casing job. Here's a picture from 1939 of a mud man doing a check on a mud sample. This photo is on a rig that was drilling in the Seminole oil field in Oklahoma. This picture shows the work floor of an old drilling rig. Notice how it's ground level? No need for a blowout preventer, I guess. Photo was taken in 1939 in Texas. Here's a great photo of a rig crew pulling out of the hole. This photo was taken in 1940 and is on a drilling rig that was in the Turner Valley oil field of Alberta, Canada. You can't have drilling rigs without the rig movers. Here's a 1958-ish photo of a CAPS transport truck on the rig move. He's got the wide bunk and is hauling the derrick. Here's a picture of a derrickman working up on the monkey board of the derrick. This photo was taken in 1939 in Oklahoma. Here's a photo taken in the later 1930s showing a landscape of an active oil field in Oklahoma. Another old photo from 1939 showing a couple of rig hands checking out some drill bits. This photo was taken down in Kilgore, Texas. Photo description here says, gathered together on one spot are 95 men and almost $2.25 million worth of materials and equipment needed to drill and complete one typical oil well. The drilling location shown here in South Mississippi is the Macomb Field Unit 26. Here's a 1942 photograph of a pipeline crew laying a 24-inch line. This pipeline, when completed, took oil from Texas to refineries on the East Coast. The line was completed in 1943. This is another photo of that same pipeline project. This photo is from the early 1940s and is showing a pipeline being built to take oil from Pennsylvania oil fields to refiners. Here's another shot of that pipeline project. This picture was also taken in the Pennsylvania oil fields in 1942. Here's an oldie for you. This photo from early 1920s show a load of pipe arriving at the well site. That would be a wooden derrick on that rig. No details on where the location is. Here's an old photo of a Halliburton pumper. Not sure what's happening in the photo, but I see the steam lines are active. Flowing the well. Here's a 1948 of the Continental Well No. 9 flowing to the flare pit. This well was drilled at Wood Bend, Alberta. Well, that's about it for this video. In closing, I'll leave you with this old 1920s photo of some drilling rigs right in a residential area of Los Angeles. If you like these types of old pictures, I've got some really great old login videos like this one that you just might enjoy, and I thank you for watching.